This video is brought to you by your support on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/grouchygus94 to help support the channel. Okay, so Chase, in typical Grouchy Gus 94 fashion, I waited forever to actually make a video on Hogwarts Legacy. So it came out a while ago. I'm kind of far into it. I think I'm level 7. How far are you?
I think I'm level 23, 24. So I'm only about 30% of the way into the game currently, I think.
Okay.
Or 30% completion.
Now, what do you think so far? I like it. It's a good game, but I don't know. I just haven't really been able to sink my teeth into it that well. We've been kind of busy, and I bought the game for Ashley, so she's been playing it more than me. So I kind of watch her play it a lot of the time. But what do you think?
Yeah, so I'm liking it. I think it's a good game. It's an open world game, and very true. It's not like a small open world game. You get some games that you hop in and there's a bunch of hidden boundaries and you just can't seem to go anywhere.
Yeah.
I explored for the first like 2 hours of the game, just walking around Hogwarts and trying to find all the pages. I've already found like all the ones in Hogsmeade, all the one in Hogwarts. So that's kind of how I got so high level so quick. But
Yeah.
it's good. There is like spots that stop you, like locks on the doors that you need to get to story progression to get, to learn different things. But no, it seems like a great game from what they built. It's not too difficult, but there is elements of difficulty in there as well, which is definitely I like, just not them giving you the progress as well.
Now, you mentioned difficulty. What difficulty are you playing on?
Oh, the hardest, always.
Okay.
Yep, just ramp it up.
What is there's 4 settings, right? There's story, easy, medium, and then hard?
Yeah, I think 3 or 4. So I always honestly don't even look at the type of difficulties. I always just go to the hardest and then don't even, and then if I need to, I take back. But I get bored with games if they're too easy. And so I feel that's kind of the Demon Souls, Dark Souls problem is after playing games like that, if a game just gives it to me, I don't enjoy playing it anymore, so I end up stopping. So I like the harder difficulty. I like getting frustrated.
I've been dealing with that more and more lately. It's where it's like, the games are too easy, and then I've had this epiphany lately where it's like, I'm playing on normal. I could go too hard. Like, I don't know why I'm always so scared of hard, but then I'll play hard games like the Souls games, and I have no problem with it. So,
yeah, I've had that before where I've completely stopped playing games if they get to the point where I am just walking through and just, and they're too easy. The biggest example I can think of was like Far Cry Primal, where you could like go straight to the hardest area, and it's not fun to get there, and you're getting just rolled by the enemies there. But you could get the highest like mount and like animal that you tame, and then the game's a cakewalk after there. And that's how I see. Oh, I can go get the saber-tooth tiger right away. I'm gonna go get that guy because I want the coolest stuff. But then you walk over, and so Hogwarts Legacy, it's still a challenge. Like as you're rolling through, enemies can still roll you. I mean, even if you get to like level 22, your health, like if they hit 3 spells on you, you're hurting, and you're usually not fighting a fair fight. It's 1v7, and so you have to and that's what makes it fun as well.
It was kind of funny the other night. Garrett came over and we were talking about the game, and I'm like, it's super frustrating. Like I keep dying, I keep getting my ass kicked. I'll go into the woods, I'll fight 2 wizards and a dog, and I'll die. I'm the worst wizard ever, and I go in the room and I want to show Garrett the game, and Ashley's playing, so we're sitting there watching it, and she's just destroying things, and I'm like, what the hell? What difficulty are you on? And she's like, oh, I'm on hard. So I sit there and I'm watching her for a second, like scratching my head. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. You're getting hit and you're not taking any damage. I don't get it. Yep. So I ask her to pause it. She shows me the difficulty. She's on story. So then she cranked it up. And she did the same thing you did, where she was like, I like games hard. I want to play it on the hardest difficulty. I'm going to beat this game and be the best at it. So she proceeds to put it on hard. It gets her face just absolutely kicked in for the next 15 minutes, and then we left the room. It was so bad.
Yeah.
But she was starting to get frustrated. It was kind of funny, but.
Yep. I mean, it's again, I like games that are difficult that challenge you. I don't like games that just give you the progress.
Right.
It's like the Souls, or one of my favorite games is Tarkov. It's the basically abusive relationship where they just like beat you down, and then when you finally succeed, then you're like, I am better than you in every single way.
Right.
When you're playing those games, and it's just that euphoria. It's like that dopamine rush. When you fail for so much, and then you succeed, you're like, I am on top of the world, which is awesome.
So some of the stuff I've heard about the game is it kind of opens up after you get your broom. Would you agree?
So on the access, you can go to every corner of the map right away because you have flu powder right away. So you can fast travel everywhere. You need to get to those points first.
Right.
So you can go on a walk right away into the hardest area and walk all the way down, into the southern, I think it's the southern part of the map, way past, way down. Down there, there's some missions eventually that you go down there.
Yeah.
That's not closed off. There might be a door that's, closed off behind like a level 3 lock that you can't get into the certain treasure room. But no, you can go to the whole map right away, from my understanding, beyond just a few small, mission story choke points that are very minuscule.
Because that's how I've been playing, and I just hit a little block where I had to go and learn a spell before I continued on with the main quest. So that's why I have to go back and do a class. But I'm asking because you were talking a lot about the difficulty and how you could do that, but what are your thoughts on, can you actually just do a bunch of classes, or can you just do the main story, or are you supposed to kind of zig and zag between the two?
I definitely think you can avoid, just keep pushing and doing the classes if you want. But I still, from what I've seen, and I'm more of the completionist. I like to do everything.
Right.
Like if you have a side quest, I want to go do it because I think I like the story of it. And so that's the problem also with games, is most games aren't made for you to complete all the story missions, all the side missions, because then you'll be overpowered. Like The Witcher was like that.
Right.
Where if you do everything, you are a god at the end of it, and you're just wiping people left and right. And again, it loses the fun of it.
Right.
So I do this to myself, but no. So I think because certain classes, you need to do certain things to actually learn the actual spell. So they'll be like, for potions, it's like, hey, use this potion on multiple enemies. Acquire an invisibility potion and use it. Or it'll be the herbology teachers like, hey, you need to use a mandrake on multiple enemies. And so you'll have to do certain things going out in the world to actually learn the next spells. So they're kind of intertwined. Obviously not crazy, like you don't have to zig so much to zag, but the story does make you go out and explore and do, fight some enemies as well.
Okay. So, that's interesting. How many classes are there?
From what I've seen, Defense Against the Dark Arts, there's herbology, there's potions, and then there is the first one that you go to with the I don't think it's Transfiguration. It's the first classroom that you go to. So I think at least 4. And then Broom, also flying classes. You do have a flying class as well to unlock the Broom.
Okay. But, so I've done just about all of those yet. I haven't done flying yet because it's something else I want to talk about. But
yeah,
I've done, I think, just about all the classes now. But there's multiple different classes for each class. Like, how many classes have you done? I find it hard to believe they have all these different scripted scenarios for each class. Like, how many times can you go to herbology class? Are there 30 different classes, or how many have you? What would you say?
So I've probably gone to about 10 classes, maybe that many. It's probably closer to 8. But it's also, some of them are just cutscenes at the end, where you're going and it shows just a cutscene of you making a potion. And then you go talk to the teacher at the end and he gives you extra assignments. That's the whole story of this, without getting too much, without spoiling too much, is you have to catch up as a student. You're coming in a little late, and so they're giving you extra assignments.
Right.
That's the whole, hey, do this extracurricular activity, and then I will teach you this spell to catch you up. And so
Right.
that's kind of how they're framing it, which I think it seems somewhat natural as well.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my brain. It seems like it's pretty cool. Like you go out, you explore. Ashley was doing this little puzzle in a little crypt, and I don't think it really had anything to do with the story. It was just like a little extra thing, right? There's a bunch of stuff like that.
Yeah, so there's Merlin trials that are really good. They're all around the world that you to do them. You actually that's how you get more inventory space.
Yeah.
Because the one thing with this game is inventory management, so you should be selling stuff nonstop. Because there's also transmog, so you can make your gear look like anything. You should always wear the best stuff, and then you can make it look like your outfit that you want to. And so Merlin trials are a way to unlock. It's what the reward you get for completing a certain amount of Merlin trials. You get more inventory space, which is invaluable. Because if you go into a dungeon, certain dungeons that you go to, if you go in there and you don't have room, you don't get any of those items. You have to destroy stuff in your bag, so you lose out on that money. I haven't noticed that money has been a problem in this game, but I explore a lot and I get a lot of items and I sell a lot, but I'm only about 30% of the way in.
Okay. How long do you think you've played the game?
I played probably 20 hours since it came out on I think it came out on the 7th if you bought the deluxe, and I played a few hours. I was traveling then, so I had to. I wasn't on my home computer, so I didn't play it too much. But about 20 hours, 25, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. I think I'm about 5 or 6 hours in.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have any idea how far through the main story you are, or have you've been doing a lot of side stuff?
I've been doing a lot of side stuff. I'm at the first. Basically, your character has a certain ability, and I'm at the first trial that they are basically to learn more about your ability, this specific thing. And so I've gone against the main villain a few times. This is probably the third time that I'm going to be going against him. And so I'm actually just was working through the story this morning a little bit and getting to that point.
And that's Ranrock you're talking about.
Ranrock, yep.
What do you think about him?
I think it's pretty legit. It seems like a nice villain. You heard, I don't know if you know much about the Harry Potter lore, but you heard about the Goblin Rebellion. And so they're basically, this is a way for them to still fall into the lore of Harry Potter in the 1900s, 1997, 6 and 7 when Harry Potter goes to Hogwarts. And so they're still able to kind of fit this into the lore. Without making too many big changes. So they're talking about the rebellion. You don't go into much specifics when you're in Harry Potter once you get to that stage, which is nice. So they're still following kind of in the lore, and you can see bits, basically stuff from Harry Potter from if you read the books and watched the movies. Yeah. In this game, they're talking about stuff or making references even before. There's obviously characters that you didn't hear about, but there's a lot of characters that you have heard, which is awesome.
That's kind of interesting to hear because I was curious how it was going to tie into Harry Potter. I didn't really know. So I've seen the movies, I've read some of the books, but so I don't really know about the Goblin Rebellion. That sounds cool, but at least they've mentioned it. So this game's going to kind of touch on that.
Yeah, that's essentially this whole process. Ranrock is rebelling against the wizards, and he has discovered a power that is essentially the same power you have, but just the light and dark side of it. The evil side versus the good side, which you have.
Okay. So what do you think? Do you think this game will wrap up the Goblin Rebellion, or do you think there'll maybe be a sequel? Or, is this going to span multiple games, or will they wrap it all up in this one?
They might. So what I've heard is they don't put a lot of restrictions on what your character can do on the good and evil. There's actually not much of a morality system in this game. Characters do react if you you can learn the unforgivable curses, like the killing curse, the torturing, the make you do the and so they don't, if you use the killing curse, it doesn't affect the main story necessarily down the road from what I've heard. But people react like imagine if you're a fifth year, so you're a 15, 16-year-old kid, and you also use the killing curse, and if people that are fighting you, but that would be pretty astonishing, all of a sudden if you use Avada Kedavra. And
Right.
so
just kill the other duelist.
yeah, and you're already doing it. I mean, you're burning them, like you're being very violent regardless. But just using those specific curses, they're like, whoa, that's not cool. So since there is not a huge amount of deviation in the end story, from what I've heard, there's some, but not with immortality. They might use this to launch into another game, where you are down the road and you're fighting, a little bit more in the fight against the Goblin War.
You see all these kind of trilogy games lately. And it's almost like it's set up perfectly. You're coming in as a fifth year, so then year 6 and year 7, and then that would be the wrap up to the series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, technically, I don't know if I think the lore is you actually don't need to continue school after the fifth year.
Really?
So that's what. Yeah. So in Harry Potter, Ron's twin brothers. They actually left in their fifth year. It might have been their sixth year, but they left in their sixth year to basically go and just
start
leave.
They
didn't start their business. And so it could even be they don't need to come back to Hogwarts. They could explore other parts of the world. This would be so it'd be interesting to see what they do. To be completely honest, I don't. Being a Harry Potter fan and a fan of good games, I don't want them to shoehorn more games just because. I know there's, companies need to make money, but one thing that I like about Portkey Games is they did make a complete game, it seems like, with this.
Yeah.
It's an awesome game. It's kind of, it's people lauded Elden Ring for being the best game, in a long time. But one of the reasons why it was a fantastic game was it was a complete game on release.
Right.
And that's rare these days, which is,
It
seems weird that's like the high standard that not many people can hit, but it's they care about the game, they make it. Hogwarts Legacy was delayed multiple times. I think it was scheduled to come out 1 to 2 years ago. And when it got pushed back, although I wanted to play it, I was like, keep pushing it back.
Yep.
Make it a perfect game.
Don't put any shitty microtransactions in here.
Yeah. And there's no microtransactions as of right now, which is good. And so, just make a complete game. It'd be great. It would be awesome. I do love the single player. I like the single player games that are really good. Multiplayer is great, but sometimes games like this is just better explored as a single player.
Yeah.
It would be cool if maybe they had some multiplayer functions down the road. Maybe that's the next game they do, where they have, you can fight, do co-op or, work with your friends, even at like a Red Dead 2 online situation. But no, it seems like a great game. And it seems like they sent out a completed product, which I'm happy about. I'm ecstatic. It's definitely lived up to the expectations.
I'm going to sink my teeth in to the game after we get off here, but I wanted to ask you about one more thing.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on the headmaster? That's so jarring to me that he's just an asshole.
He's kind of a prick.
Yeah. Does he stay that way? Do you start to like him more?
So far, what I've seen, he stayed a prick. So he's
okay.
not. But I mean, it's also, I like how, again, they show depth on stuff. It's like not every one of your teachers is gonna be a nice person. It's kind of shows the life in it is, you're gonna like certain people, you're not gonna like certain people, and you just kind of have to deal with it. So not everyone's gonna be cool like a Dumbledore,
right?
Although Dumbledore had his flaws too, just sending his students out to fight death, left, right, and center, and in between doing finals.
Testing children, in extreme ways throughout their whole stay at your school.
Yeah, I think they can fight a basilisk, something that no one's fought in 100 years.
Right.
Go ahead. Yeah. But
you'll be fine. Harry's a smart kid.
Yeah. He's a chosen one. He's got this.
So, all right, everybody. Thanks for watching the video. If you guys want us to talk about anything, leave a comment down below. If you have questions about the game or want us to cover anything else. We are going to do a review here once we're both able to actually finish the game. It's going to be late, but we'll do it. So if you want to know, just hang tight. Any last words?
Enjoy Hogwarts Legacy, friends.
All right. Make sure to subscribe. We'll see you later.
Subscribe.